I've done it. I've destroyed time. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs, and this is vlog number 41 for October the 23rd, 2017. And I hope you've had a good week since the last time we met. Of course, we're back to sort of our normal schedule again, such as normal is, because, well, as you know, we've just returned from London, and I'm not going to talk any more about that. I've already got multiple videos up about what I bought in London, and we've talked about it on Stephen and Walter Live last Friday night, and I talked about it on my vlog last week. So enough is enough about London, except to say that we brought home one other thing that I did not show you and I do not want to share with you, and thanks to the magic of video, you will not get this. We both came back with colds. I have not had a cold in a long time. I can't remember the last time I had a cold, but I've got one now. So I've got some medication happening in me right now. I've got my coffee and my throat may give out, excuse me, as it is right now. And I've got my Kleenex right here handy, so you don't have to be grossed out by anything. So anyways, hazards of traveling around in public places, I guess. But anyways, me, it's a good thing to get it now because it'll basically probably boost my immune system up for winter, if we ever have winter. I'm not complaining. October's been a beautiful month. Today it's supposed to be a high of 21. It's like extended summer. But I just can't help but thinking that Mother Nature's playing a little trick on us, and she's getting us all warmed up here, and then one morning we're going to wake up and they will have dumped 6 feet of snow on top of us. The trees have not even come off the trees yet, and this is 1 week from Halloween, basically. So anyways, weird weather. Don't know if it's normal, don't know if it's because we're destroying the environment. Whatever, not much I can do about it. Live with it. Okay, what have I been up to? Well, I've started printing out my pictures. I said I wasn't going to say London again. I'm saying London again, from London. This time when I took pictures, though, I'm not really going to do them as a scrapbook. I'm printing them all out in like ATC size pictures. I may do some Project Life with them and just play around with them. If you've ever gone to the Inky Quill website, Adele, that's her name, I think it is. No, it's not Adele. Yeah, it is Adele, I think. Anyways, whatever. You can find her. She does a lot of neat things with Project Life. She makes little teeny mini scrapbook pages with each one of her pictures, kind of a thing. And I thought maybe I'd give that a go at some point. I'm also thinking of creating a travel junk journal where I'm just going to use all these pictures and other embellishments around it. But I'm not really going to spend a lot of time documenting the trip and things like that because we've been to London several times before. I do have albums of London, scrapbook albums and that kind of thing. I really don't need a lot more. So I'm just using the pictures as sort of stock photos that I can use in other projects. Okay, what else am I doing? Oh, well, after I finish this vlog today, I've got to get on to the job of decorating for Halloween. Now, when I say decorating, I don't do a lot of decorating for Halloween. I do my front doors on my house. Usually I do them on the day of Halloween. And I stick up some cheapo things from the dollar store with magnets, and that's it. I'm going to try and get a little bit more elaborate this year just because I did some pre-planning. I cut a few things out of vinyl with my Cricut Maker. I found a couple of neat light up things. I think I showed those in a previous video, which I have to work on today because they only have a coat of gesso on them, but one's a cutout of I'm looking over the side where they are. One's a cutout of a skull, one's a cutout of a jack-o'-lantern, and they have a little LED light in them that changes colors. I thought it was kind of cool. So I think I'm going to very quickly paint them, maybe add some glitter to them a little bit. I'm not going to get too fancy with it all. Install them with some magnets and they can stick on my front door. I like using magnets on my front door because my doors are metal and better than Scotch tape. I find that Scotch tape sometimes pulls up your paint. If you use painter's tape, it's not strong enough. And the magnets I've got are really super strong magnets, so they hold really well, and they're easy for putting stuff up, taking stuff down. So we'll see. After I get the doors done, maybe I'll take a picture of them if they look half decent and share that with you. And if they don't look half decent, I'll probably still share them with you. Whatever. Okay. You saw in my little teaser at the beginning all the clock parts that I got. My friend Kristen, who I've mentioned before on my vlogs, who I think if you go back, 6 or 7 vlogs back around my birthday, she had sent me a beautiful, beautiful birthday card, which now sits in my Hall of Fame spot, where it will be forever, because it's so beautiful. But she gave me a bag full of clock parts. We were talking one day, and I said, I'm always looking for this kind of stuff, like with gears and things for, to do mixed media projects. And I guess she was at an estate sale or someplace. My lips are not working today. She was at an estate sale some time ago, and she picked up all these broken old clocks and watches and face dials and gears and stuff like that for clocks. And she said, I'll bring you a bag. So on Saturday, I was at the scrapbooking store. I was doing a demo, more about that later on. And she came in with this big bag. So now I've got all these little parts to sift through, and I think they're going to make great additions to some mixed media pieces that I want to do down the road. So anyways, thank you, Kristen. I know you watch this, and I really appreciate getting those parts. Okay, what else? Well, let's take a look at some things that, no, we'll save that when we get to new stuff. Oh yeah, one thing I have been doing though. Okay, so Dina Reevely has come out, she creates the Delusions lines for Rangers. She has just come out with some new elements for her creative diary. Her creative diary looks cute, but to me it's basically a, excuse me, art journal that's already been filled in. But she has little die cuts based on her pages from her art journals and her rubber stamps and things like that, and she creates very whimsical things. Well, I have some of her rubber stamps and they're great. But I got thinking, wait, I have a Cricut Maker. Why don't I just stamp some of her rubber stamps, scan them in the computer, put them into Cricut Maker and have them cut them out? And lo and behold, that's what I did, and I got a bunch of neat little things. So I got some, let's see here, some of her flowers. And of course, the beauty of this is I can resize these to whatever size I want and cut them out in the Cricut now that they're done. In fact, if I'd colored them before I even scanned them in, I'd have them already pre-colored, but and I might do that eventually. So some flowers, I've got some of her birds. So you see here all of these guys. It cuts it out really well. And then of course some of her wacko ladies, as I like to call them, which are always fun. Her new line, she's got some like fish and things in them. They're actually kind of scary looking, but they're kind of neat. I don't know, I might buy the stamp, I might not. I mean, I have these ones, but I don't even use them that much. And that's another reason why I did this to them. Maybe I'll use them a little bit more on in my art journals. We'll see. But anyways, they cost me nothing. She's selling them. I don't know how much in packs. But if you got a Cricut Maker, you can save some money on some of these kind of things. Am I violating copyright? Probably am. Too bad. Okay, so let's move on here. Okay, YouTube channel of the week. This is by a young man, Christopher Allen Design. I don't watch his videos on a regular basis, but, well, watch this little clip and you'll understand why.
This week's YouTube channel is one by Christopher Allen Design. This is an interesting site from the point of view of seeing some products that aren't as readily available as other products might be. He is the owner of Brutus Monroe products, and they have quite a few different things. You won't find his products though in a Michaels or even a Joann's, I don't think. I'm not sure how he sells his products. I know he has his own store somewhere in the United States, and of course you can do it through the internet. His videos show you how to use a lot of his products. I find his videos a little bit disorganized, but they do inspire some great ideas. And as I said, his product line is somewhat unique. So you might want to check out Christopher Allen Design.
Okay, as I said in the video, he has some unique products that he has invented or worked with the other people for, and I have not seen his products in Michael's, at least not here in my area. Maybe they're available through Michael's or Joann's, I'm not sure, but I know he has his own store, and I know he has an online store as well, so if you're interested you can order things from him that way as well. Okay, down below I've listed my London haul, the video for that. I've put the link in for that. And I got some really interesting stuff. So if you haven't seen that video yet, check it out. My London pictures, I put all my pictures that I took, including the ones I took when we went for one day to Paris. And I just did them sort of randomly into a little 8-minute, 9-minute slideshow. So if you're interested in seeing what I saw, click on that, links below. Our last Stephen and Walter Live last Friday night, I like to call that the butter tart version. Watch it if you haven't seen it already. You'll understand what I'm saying. And that's linked below. And of course, the YouTube channel of the week, Christopher Allen Designs, is listed below as well. So that brings me to what's pissing me off this week. Well, until we got to the airport to pick up our car, I had nothing for this segment. I really didn't have anything that stood out that was pissing me off. And then there it was in front of us. Yes, in the form of a truck parked in the parking garage for the airport in a spot that is clearly marked compact cars only. The reason for that is they're little shorter spots and they won't hold a truck. If you park a truck in there like this numbnut did, his truck front hangs out half a car length right in to where you have to go by to get, out of the parking garage. He wasn't the only idiot though, okay? There were several other idiots who did the same thing. Now this parking garage is huge. We park in there a lot. It's at the airport. There is always a spot. There's always a spot. It's huge. You just have to drive around a little bit and be patient and find it. Obviously, they didn't want to do that. They backed their trucks right into this and now are blocking traffic. Idiots. Idiots. But that got me thinking about all the other idiots and the way they park. All right. First of all, let's talk about the parking spots that are marked for wheelchair people. Now, I always watch those spots. I never park in them. Never park in them at all. The only time I park in them is when I'm with my mother. My mother has a parking sticker because my mother cannot walk very well at all. Well, she has to have a walker, and sometimes I have to take her out in a wheelchair. So, okay, but that's the only time I do that. And, that's fine because I'm able-bodied. I can walk. Not a problem. Lots of people have problems like my mother or worse. Those spots are for them, to help them out. But I see people parking in them all the time. I do not see a sticker. Nothing in it that indicates they're in a wheelchair. I watch them get out of their vans or out of their truck or out of their little tiny 2-seater smart car. Okay, let's think about this. If you have a walker or a wheelchair because you have difficulty walking, you can't get a wheelchair nor a walker into a smart car. You can hardly get a bag of groceries in a smart car. So why were you parking in that spot? Sometimes I see them getting out of their car. They're an able-bodied person. Yes, they are an older person. Okay? In many cases. When I say older, I mean my age, 60, 60 plus. I don't care if they're 70 or they're 80. If they can walk without assistance, then they can just park their car somewhere else. Leave that spot for people that need it with a wheelchair. I don't think old age is an excuse for parking in those spots. Well, and then you get just the idiots who just don't care at all, and they park in that spot just to be annoying. Now, I have called out a few of them on this, and I get really nasty looks. Like, who am I to be the police for the parking spot? Actually, the way I do it is I say, excuse me, did you realize you're parking in a handicap spot? Sometimes they'll go, oh no, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that. Thank you for letting me know. And they move their car. Most of the time, they just ignore me and walk in. And then they sometimes fake a limp. Oh, really? The other kind of parking spots that annoy me, this really annoys me a lot, is at Home Depot and a few other places, Walmart and that, they have these other spots marked. Mother with child or children. So having children is a handicap. So you need to be in a handicap parking zone because you have children. Okay, in my opinion, having children is a handicap. I don't have any, don't want any, not particularly like them. Okay, well, you know that last part's not really true, but nevertheless, why? Children can walk, mommy can walk. Why do they need a parking spot for them? If it's to get them out of the parking lot really quick because the little kids have been running helter-skelter all over the store and destroying things, yeah, I could see the point of that. Or the other ones that I really love too, and I'm going to get hate mail about this, so I'll save you the hate mail. I can't have children. I can't get pregnant. You're right. I have no idea what it feels like to be pregnant, and I'm really happy about that. That's one of the advantages of being a man. I don't have to know what it feels like to be pregnant. But they have these parking spots that are marked pregnant mother. Women today are working right up until, a month, maybe less, before they give birth. Women today seem to be very proud of the fact that they are pregnant and are not suddenly being closed up in a dark room for 9 months of their internment or whatever, like they used to do in Victorian times. They're out there showing that baby bump out there, glorious about it, glowing, so they say, and the whole bit. And walking is good. Dr. Oz, I don't know, talks about still having some exercise as you're pregnant. This is good for you. It's good for the baby. All this kind of crap. Whatever. So why do they need their own parking spot? Besides, not my fault you're pregnant. It was a choice, wasn't it? Say no more. So that pisses me off. The other thing is people that have really fancy 4x4s or got a brand new expensive car and park diagonally across the parking spot. Oh, because they don't want anybody to park too close to them because they might scratch them or ding them with their car door or something like that. Don't you just want to take a handful of your car keys and just walk down the side of those and go across them? I know I do. I've never done it. Okay, it's vandalism. But in my imagination, in my wicked imagination, I want to do that. I want to carve my big letters on it going, you're a big effing a-hole. Aren't you special? Because you got a nice car. Am I jealous? Of course I'm jealous. But still, even if I had a brand new car like that, I wouldn't park it diagonally. That's just rude. Just rude. And the other thing about parking lots, and this usually happens in grocery store parking lots, people who do not return their shopping cart, they leave it in a spot because they're too bloody lazy to put it back in the corral or wherever it was, and they leave it in a parking spot, and they're taking up a parking spot. Or they leave it right on the edge of the line, so you can't really maneuver around it without like tapping it or whatever. Or it's so close that you end up having to take it back into the store. Well, that's what I do. I just take it back into the store because I really don't want somebody accidentally hitting it and running it into my car or whatever either. So idiots who park like that are just that, idiots. Yeah, what more can I say about it? We've all seen it. We've all been annoyed by it. And I don't know what you can do about it. Actually, the latest incident that's happening right now is in my mother's apartment building, somebody's been parking in her parking spot. Now, my mother does not have a car because my mother doesn't drive anymore. But it is part of her rent It's her parking spot. And when my sister or myself go over to see my mother, rather than parking in the visitors' spots, which are very limited, we will park in her spot. That way, anybody's coming to visit somebody else there, we're not taking up a spot because we can use this. Well, lately there's been somebody, it hasn't happened to me yet, but it's happened to my sister, and it's pissed my sister right off. They've been parking in that spot. Thing is, nobody knows who they are. My sister left a note the last time it happened on their car saying, you know, a very nice, polite note that this was a taken spot. This belonged to her mother in her apartment. And, you know, we'd appreciate it if you didn't park in that. But it's happened again. So, excuse me, coughing fit here. A little coffee first. Okay. Damn cold. If I ever go over there and there's the car parked in that, I'm going to leave them a note. It's not going to be quite as nice. I'm going to say, look, you've been told before that this is a taken spot. We've asked you not to park here. Obviously, you're doing it anyways. I've written down your license plate number. If I come over here again and you're parked in the spot, I will have your car towed at your expense. Now, I'm not really sure what the technical aspects of all that are, but maybe that'll be enough. I've spoken to the superintendent, but what can she do? She can't be standing out there all day checking to see who's parking in what spots and, you know, that kind of thing. And I don't know if, I've never asked her, and I can't remember if we did when my mother did have a car, whether or not we gave my mother's license number. I think we did. So the superintendent might have a record of a license plate number. So if this happens, like, I don't care. If they park there when we're not over there, it's not a big deal. One, we don't know they're parked there. And two, my mother doesn't have a parking spot or doesn't have a car anyway, so fine and dandy. But we don't have a regular schedule as to when we go over to my mother's. It depends on all kinds of other factors. So anyways, that's just inconsiderate as well. So what am I pissed off with? Is people's parking habits or just being so inconsiderate of other people. Like I've just said. Okay, let's move on. Technique tips and new stuff. Okay, picked up a few things. Excuse me again. Picked up a few things on the weekend at Class Act. And what did I get? Some of these things I had on order. Others I didn't. Yeah, I had this on order. I don't know. I bought 2 bottles of it. It's called On Point Glue. And it comes in a, let's see here. Do I have one out? Did I take one out? I guess I didn't. Oh yeah, there's one out of the package right here. So this is what it looks like. So basically, you've got a fine liner bottle tip, and it's very fine, dries clear. I saw somebody, I think it may have been Jenny on Craft Test Dummies. I'm trying to get this thing back in the hole. Okay, when you're half blind, and there goes the clock, a little musical interlude. Okay, I saw Jenny on Craft Test Dummies using this, and she swears by it. She says she really loves it. So I got a couple of bottles of it to give it a try. I have quite a collection of adhesives and of glues. So we'll see how that works out. Also bought some Tim Holtz adornments, pine cones, little charms. I thought they might be nice on either on a binding of a journal or, as a mixed media type piece. I bought some more ephemera. Right now, I'm on the hunt to buy ephemera because I'm really liking using these in junk journals and just on for collaging, things like that. And I also bought a couple of these. These are by Heartfelt. This is something new. They've come out. It's called Layered Ovals Card. These are in black. But basically, if you know what a tunnel book is, that's what these are. And what I wanted to see is how they assemble them and see if it works out okay, I may duplicate this kind of pattern using my Cricut Maker to make a full-size tunnel book. It's something, years ago, I saw things about tunnel books. And I was always going to make one, and I never got around to it. So when I saw these, I thought, this might be a bit of a cheat way to do it, a shortcut. And this is another package, same ones except in craft. They come in white as well, but they didn't have any in the store at the time. But I'll be painting them or doing something to them. It's one of those projects that's on the back burner at the moment. Got to decorate my doors. And then I got this Deco Foil Transfer Gel. Now, I know about Decofoil and Decofoil's products and things like this, but this is basically a type of glue, and you can spread it through a stencil, lay down the foil on top of it. It gets sticky, dry, varnish it. You put it through your heat laminator, it says, and then I guess you can peel it off and you've got a foiled item. Now, I'm trying to think. I'm just looking around here, but it's not here. I think I bought some pens from them once. It's glue pens that do the same thing. So I think this is just a bigger quantity of it. I'm not big into foiling things, but I saw this, thought, give it a try. Okay, so those are all things that I bought this week. So what else? Okay, I need another sip of coffee, okay? All right. Couple of inspiration ideas. And I tried one of these already. And that's, first one is printing on deli paper. Now, why would you want to print on deli paper? Well, I got thinking about this. You know how I scan my art journal pages into my computer and make cards and things out of them? Well, I also can use those as background papers. So, you know, I like to make background papers on deli paper using my jelly plate and that kind of thing. But sometimes you want something a little quicker than going through all of that. So I tried printing on deli paper, and it works. This was just a script page that I found in Google Images. Saved it to the computer, put it into WordPerfect as a graphic file, made it full size, printed it. This is one of my art journal pages that I already had scanned in the computer, and again, I just printed it on deli paper. Now, one problem though. Depending on the kind of ink that your printer uses, and most of them use this kind of ink, the ink is not waterproof, okay? It will run if something wet hits it. And of course, if you're going to rip these up and use them as backgrounds on art journal pages, all of this ink on here, once you start adding matte medium or something, is going to run. So how to get around that? Spray it with fixative. You can even use hairspray for that matter. I stay away from hairspray because it's just stickier, and you make things stick together in your journal. So I use fixative or a clear coat spray, and they take about 5 minutes to dry. You can hit it with a heat gun, and because you're spraying it, you might get a little bit of run, but I didn't on these too much. And now they're waterproof. So I can lay them down and add wet medium to them, and they'll be fine. Now, one thing though, when you print them out, don't touch them. Let them sit for probably a good 10 minutes because the deli paper has a waxy side to it, but it really doesn't matter whether it's the waxy side or the non-waxy side. It doesn't absorb the ink that fast. So basically your ink has to evaporate the moisture in it on top. So if you take it right out and touch it, you will smear it. So just let it sit aside for about 10 minutes or so and let it dry, and then spray it with the fixative, and there you go. You could, let's say you're planning to go to a crop or something, and you don't have time to make fresh new papers and you're low. Here's a quick way to do it. And because you're ripping them up and everything, they're going to look different than, even if you've used this design on something before. When you tear it up, add other layers. Who's going to know? So that's just a quickie little thing, and I think that's going to work really well. Another inspiration I got is, I've written here, create backgrounds using a large sheet of acetate and acrylic paints, like a jelly plate. Okay, now this was something Vicky Bouton was doing. And you can find it, just do search for Vicky Bouton and you'll find this technique that she did. As a scrapbook page background. She took a 12 by 12 sheet of acetate of plastic. You can get those. Excuse me, if you can't get them the size of your scrapbook paper, you could use an 8.5 by 11 transparency. That would work, or packaging, something like that. Just plastic, because plastic is non-porous. And then she just put some acrylic paint down right onto the acetate, made a circle, swirled it around a little bit, added a couple of other little colors. And then, now she says you have to work quickly, and true, you would have to work quickly because the acrylic paint, especially you're putting it on relatively thin, will start to dry fairly fast. So then you just take it, flip it over onto your cardstock, smush it down, pull it off, you've got a print. And then you can clean up the acetate later with a little spritz of water and a baby wipe kind of a thing, and it's ready to go again. So I'm going to give that a try. She recommends making a whole lot of them at once, so you have a stockpile of them. But I think this could be very interesting. Also, for those of you that want to try jelly plate printing but don't want to spend the money or make the investment in actual jelly plates or a gel press, this might be your introduction into monoprinting. So, a couple of ideas that you can try. All right, what's next? Well, events in the past week. On Saturday, I worked all day at my local scrapbooking store, Class Act. I was doing demos for the new Oxide inks from Tim Holtz. I love these inks, and you've seen me use them before, and I have some videos on here about using them. But I did a demo, and it was surprising. Excuse me again, I'm half dying here. But the vlog must go on. A lot of people think that Oxide inks are just a slightly different shade of colors from his Distress ink line. And yes, they are, but no, they are not the same thing. And they do have different properties, and they're very versatile. And that's what I was showing in my demo on how to use them. And there are tons and tons of videos out there about using Oxide inks. So if you have never ever used Oxide inks before, I strongly suggest you watch some of those videos and you get a couple of colors that you like and try playing with them yourself. And I think you're really going to like them. They've got a very creamy consistency. They react to water beautifully, give you really neat effects with that. And you can layer them, which you can't do with Distress inks without getting mud. So that's why I was demoing, and basically the owner of the store, she sold almost all of them out that day. Once people realized what they really were and how to use them, they were really impressed. So that was fun. I enjoy doing demos and things like that. It was like a little mini class. We did a make and take, but they created a couple of tags using 5 different techniques that I was showing them. And I gave them a little handout with 20 other techniques that they could use. And people like to get things like that. They like to get handouts and stuff like that as guides. And so they all went away as, happy. So that was great. Made my day. Okay, what's coming up? Well, a couple events coming up this week. And these events are possibly going to affect our next live broadcast of Stephen and Walter. And I'll explain that in a second. First of all, we have a Halloween dance to go to. It's a man's dance, and that's on Friday night. And that doesn't start till 9 o'clock. And on Friday night is usually when we do our Stephen and Walter Live, Champagne Fridays. We may still be doing that, minus the champagne, because we're going out, so we don't want to be drinking before we go out, kind of a thing. So we may still do that at our usual time in around 6 o'clock because the dance doesn't start till 9 and it's here in Oshawa, so no big deal. We may. If not, we could do it maybe Saturday afternoon, because Saturday night we have another party to go to for a friend of mine who's having it's my friend's 50th birthday. And so we're going over there for the evening. So Saturday may not be that good either. So that would leave Sunday. Now Sunday is free, unless I have to go over to my mother's. Anyways, what I'm saying is, and this brings me to my final thoughts today, is that Stephen and Walter Live will happen sometime this weekend. I'm shooting to have it done at my regular time on Friday night, around 6:30. But if not, please be patient. It will be up at some point on the weekend. Now, I know a lot of people can't catch us on the time that we usually come on, and that's fine. And I do appreciate the ones that do interact with us as we do them live. But many more of you are catching them on the rebroadcast, and that's great as well. And we're getting some positive feedback about that, so I'm really glad people are enjoying them. We're actually enjoying making them too, and Walter's starting to get really into it. So the next challenge is going to be whether or not I do a special video where Walter and I both work on a mixed media art journal page using the same supplies. That will be an interesting experiment. I don't know if I can get him talked into this yet. I'm working on him for that. I do know though, once we do it, his will be better than mine. I guarantee it. I guarantee his will be better than mine. Okay? He's very artistic. So anyways, and it makes me a little jealous. Oh well. I'm the one cooking his food. I can still put more poison in it. Not. Maybe. Okay, so that's the week as it stands. I may have some other videos up later in the week. I've got so many projects on the go right now. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, and I got to get a grip, okay, on this. You know, this is supposed to be fun, not overwhelming. And it's just me I have to blame because there's so many things I want to try. That's the thing, right? There's so many things you want to try that you almost get crippled by it. You just don't get them all done. So I'm going to take it a little bit slower. Today's big project, after I get the vlog up, is to do my doors. And if I get that done today, then I have accomplished something. Okay, hope you have a good week. And maybe see you Friday, maybe see you Saturday, maybe see you Sunday. And for sure, I'll see you next Monday. Bye-bye.